Hey, Yvonne here with a guide on my CRYO buddy LastRite. She may be shy, but in a fight she does not shy away from exploding the enemy's health bar. This 6-star operator is based around a cryo infliction stacking playstyle that results in high burst damage in a satisfying and loopable way. Today I'll go through her abilities and how to use them for maximum power, and then we'll talk about what to build and equip on her based on all of my calculations. We'll then finally look at her synergies and teams and how they all work. Like and sub for more Arknightsendfield guides, chat anyone that might need help, and let's check her out. So she is a 6-star cryo striker operator that plays around large damage spikes after successfully setting up her combo and ultimate. Her 2 scaling attributes are strength followed by will, and she has one of the highest ult costs at 240 energy, but her kit will give a ton to fix that. Anyways, when leveling up her abilities, you want to get her combo skill up, followed by her ult, then battle skill, and finishing with basics. If you main field her, you could invest a bit more into basics. But before we can get to LastRite, we gotta check her kit out first, right? Anyway, the focus of her kit is getting a satisfying combo into Ultimate Bomber, so let's check out the combo. To trigger it, an enemy must have 3 or more cryo infliction stacks on them. So if your team in any way applies that 3rd stack, but it can also be higher than 3 stacks like a 4th, LastRite can then activate her combo skill. She will trap the enemy and then consume all cryo infliction stacks on them, dealing a whole load of damage. Not only does it deal extra damage based on the amount of infliction stacks on the enemy, but it also grants her a whole load of ultimate energy scaling on them too. And this has a very short cooldown of 9 to 8 seconds. So even if you might not be able to stack that fast consistently as of 1.0, new characters in the future could accelerate LastRite's rotation by an insane amount. I can't wait to see if so. Anyways, 3 cryo infliction stacks are a lot. However, LastRite has a way to help us out in her battle skill. She'll perform a hyperthermic perfusion on the controlled operator's weapon. What these fancy words actually mean though is that the next final strike that the controlled operator performs with this effect will now create a LastRite mirage that attacks the enemy. And this mirage applies cryo infliction. But is that all? Why would we use this over something else? Well, first off, this ability returns some SP, which means we can chain these back to back without draining all of our resources. The second big part of this battle skill is that LastRite gains additional ultimate energy when it is cast in combat, combining these with her combo skill, and you can start to see the whole picture. A thing I like to mention though about this battle skill is that it gives you an effect that you can consume rather than instantly doing something, much like Synergies. This means you can use it before starting a fight and thus not consuming any SP to do so, and therefore jump starting your rotation unlike anyone else. This won't work in all content and shouldn't give energy, but abuse it where you can. Now, final striking is a pain if you're playing LastRite as your controlled operator, but this can be helped through animation cancels. Credits to Lin0 for these. She has 2 we know of, one where you can dodge cancel the second hit of her basic 2, and one where you can dodge cancel the recovery animation of her basic 4. Here are the 2 side by side. We get so many more basics, and it keeps compounding and helps fix her clunkiness so much. More final strikes, more SP, more stagger. So why is it so important that she gets all this extra energy? Well, not only does her ult have a large cost of 240, but there's a very notable passive written here. LastRite can only gain ultimate energy from her own battle skill and combo skill. This locks her into a comp and rotation built specifically around getting her to a 3 or 4 stack combo twice in a row, using several battle skills in order to consume all the cryo stacks for herself to perfectly hit an ultimate in energy cost. This ult drips her out and she'll go ham on the enemy 3 times for one of the biggest multipliers this game has to offer. Anyway, to really hit home her full rotation, they then gave her some juicy bonuses in her talents. After consuming Art's Inflictions, LastRite will apply Cryo Susceptibility to the target based on the amount of stacks consumed, and this will last for 15 seconds. At 4 stacks, this is 16%, which is a 1.16 times multiplicative increase to all cryo damage dealt to the enemy in a vacuum. Yum. The other talent then makes her ult count Cryo Susceptibility as 1.5 times more powerful than a normal attack would. So that 1.16 times multiplier from her other talent, for the ult's damage specifically, nothing else, that actually counts now as a 1.24 times multiplier. Finally, before moving on to her best builds and teams, let's check out her potentials, because a couple of her dupes are pretty nice. Her potential 1 improves final strike damage if it has hypothermic perfusion. It is a really small damage increase though. The only notable part of this is the stagger increase, which can help getting your full combo onto a stunned enemy a little easier. Her potential 3, however, increases the damage multiplier of her combo and ultimate by 1.15 times. Most of her damage getting an undiluted 1.15 times increase in power is pretty nice compared to most operator dupes. And like Levitain, a fellow ult energy lover, getting a massive reduction in ult cost drastically helps us and is our strongest dupe for LastRite, but only if played around it. In my sims, I had to change the rotation to focus on a 4-stack combo skill into ultimate with a few battle skills, along with equipping some ult gain efficiency. But basically, when worked around, a buff like this to our rotation speed is going to be a large damage increase. Her last potential is underwhelming though, a tiny bit of SP and a negligible damage increase to her battle skills pursuit attack. Oh well. Here are the full simulations on her potentials with a full hypercarry team. Remember that pot 4 is a possible increase and must improve her rotation if you want to see that sort of damage gain. Anyways, enough about the kit, let's talk gear. You'll want to equip Tide Surge only. Tide Surge gives us 20% skill damage, but then we get a powerful passive with an easily near permanent 35% arts damage buff, helping out our combos, skills, basics, and also those giant ultimates. For the early game, just focus on her main attribute, strength, and any main stats that buff her kit. Aberry's Legacy, for example, works just fine. And for weapons, let's check them out. Her signature, Cravager, gives us damage percent with the side of damage percent with damage percent for dessert. It is tailor-made for her naturally, offering damage percent upon applying cryo on battle skills and upon dealing combo skill damage to an enemy with cryo infliction. Super restrictive, but super strong. Now, Cravager used to be much weaker and was even beaten out by Sundered Prince during beta, but with the release patch, it's shifted up a lot. Now, her second best in slot is still Sundered Prince, but only if you mainfield her, as it doubles the attack percent buff provided by this greatsword. This is then followed by her signature 5-star weapon, Seeker of Dark Lung, which would be better than Sundered Prince if not running her main field. Do note though that the energy must be worked around, and losing the ult gain efficiency by wasting energy will lead to a damage drop. And finally, Exemplar is just a stat stick if you have nothing else. That raw attack percent on its stat boost is so strong, even if the passive is completely unusable on LastRite. Anyways, once you're happy with the weapon, go out there and enjoy LastRite. I found her clunky at times, and she can waste a lot of energy if you're not playing correctly, but once she works, and once you get in the rhythm, she can explode health bars. She will struggle in AoE due to ramp-up necessities and single-target focus in general, but maybe a teammate can help, and either way, the strongest enemy out there will feel her wrath. To make the most out of your LastRite, you want a banging team. So let's move on to our intended partners, with Fluorite first. Fluorite has a combo skill specifically built around building a 3rd stack of cryo when a 2nd stack is present. This allows for a free and fast way to get a 3-stack combo from LastRite. She has a similar effect in her brand new buffed ultimate, but it got an energy cost nerf to compensate. Unfortunately, the cooldown of this combo is an insane 40 seconds, and so even with her combo reduction passive from her potential 5, you're going to be waiting for every other rotation to use this. And a slow cooldown means slow ults from Fluorite, and so even the extra stacking utility from that won't help much. She also doesn't do much damage if you focus on ult spamming on her for those stacks, but she's still a good teammate for an enabling hypercarry composition. But you can instead all in on LastRite damage and use mostly LastRite alone to get cryo stacks. To do so, I'd recommend a team of her, Palika, Ardelia, and Jahi. Palika provides electrification for a short duration, but one that can get extended through potentials. Even if it's a weak electrification, you can stack Art's Intensity on her to massively boost it, since that's all she's here for anyway. She can then equip a buffing Arts unit like Stanza of Memorials for some attack percent, and she also helps a bit in AoE damage. Just make sure to time her combo cooldown before LastRite's big slam dunk. Ardelia is a high damage amplifier, especially with her free signature weapon in this team. The caveat of playing her is that you can't activate her combo when attacking an enemy with inflictions. What this means is you'll have to open a rotation with her combo into skill and make sure your whole rotation goes off before 25 to 30 seconds. And Jahi is the cryo amper herself. She'll be using her battle skills as an opener to your rotation to apply an initial cryo infliction alongside LastRite without ruining Ardelia's combo requirements. She buffs cryo so much through her skill and ult's amplification, and yet again we have access to gear sets and arts units for more power. You'd Jahi battle skill, Final Strike, LastRite battle skill into Final Strike, triggering Ardelia combo into Ardelia battle skill, Jahi combo, LastRite battle skill into Final Strike again, Palika combo, and then you can LastRite combo. If you have her ult, feel free to send it. And any support ults can be used during the rotation, ideally when LastRite has her own ult. It changes sometimes if you want to hit a 4-stack combo, but this also changes the energy requirements and amount of LastRite battle skills you need. But the idea remains the same. Make sure Perlica's electrification is up for the big bomber and any extra seconds you can. Make sure Ardelia's sus is up from her battle skill consuming corrosion, and any additional amp is welcome through ults and the like. So you're using 3 supportive characters all on a character made for bursting an enemy. It's not very complex and is not probably what the devs had in mind. So feel free to use Fluorite with her if you like over Perlica. Just remember LastRite's energy spikes a lot after the combo, so you might overcap if hitting a full cryo combo. But also with fewer battle skills on LastRite, you might go just under the ult cost amount. It's fun, huh? I also like Snowshine in LastRite teams. A lot of people dismiss defenders because they kind of just sustain, and I do the same, but a character like LastRite that has clunkiness, the parries can prevent LastRite from getting flung away during important animations, and thus prevent stalling her whole kit by another few seconds. Snowshine parrying has a similar amount of SP efficiency on cryo inflictions too, so it's not like you're losing out. Finally, we should probably talk about Yvonne. Just like LastRite, she needs to consume cryo stacks to get energy. She can also use nature stacks, but that's a different team. This does ruin the LastRite energy situation and makes her damage fall off a cliff, but technically LastRite is one of the best cryo stackers in the game thanks to the SP return. So she may be used with Yvonne not because they're synergistic, I don't like this combo, but more because we don't have a cryo version of Wolfguard or Chen. When we do, no more LastRite in this team. But yeah, it will probably work on release. More on that though when Yvonne actually comes out. And then enjoy nuking enemies with LastRite. I can't wait to see more speedruns with her when everyone gets their hands on her. Like and sub if this guide helped you out in any way. Share to anyone else that might need help. Thanks for watching and have a guoba day.